Hey guys, this is Piffy. So I want to do a tutorial on how to make fake opals or other types of gems. Today I'm going to be making an opal, but you can use this same process to make a lot of different other types of gems as well. This is a little different than the process I've seen a lot of other people use. In a lot of the other processes, they tell you to find primo frost because a lot of the translucent clay will yellow a little bit during baking, except for primo frost is supposed to yellow very little. The problem is that I have been unable to find primo frost that's readily available. I found one package and it cost me a significant amount of money. The one little 2-ounce block of primo frost that I was able to get cost as much as an 8-ounce block of regular primo translucent, which for me I thought was a little bit, kind of ridiculous, and it's not something that I'm willing to pay for. So I've been trying to find a alternative, and this is the best method I've come up with. I'm going to be using a what is this even called? A mold, which I'll clean before we get to this. As you can see, it's got some glitter on it, but this is just a leaf mold. This one's just going to be a random piece. I'm not really going to do anything with it. This is just for this tutorial. You don't have to use a mold. You can make anything you want with this. A mold's going to be easier because we're going to be using some translucent, and so it'll be easier to get a shape that you like. You're going to need, this is, I'll just actually show you guys the package. I don't have the package, but this is Primo. This is the white, the pearl color. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see the actual pearl in that, but that's what this is. And you just need a tiny bit. This is probably even going to be too much. You're going to need some translucent liquid Sculpey or whatever liquid translucent clay you want to use. This is what I have on hand, so this is what I'm going to use. You're probably going to need either some Q-tips or cotton balls, some plain rubbing alcohol, and then whatever glitters you want to use. As far as glitters go, I haven't yet decided which ones of these I'm going to use in this particular piece, but as you can see, I have this whole Ziploc baggie full of little bottles of glitter. You can use any kind of glitter you like. The type of glitter that you use is going to really affect the type of outcome that you have, so keep that in mind. But other than that, you can really use anything that you want. So I'm gonna move my camera down, and then we'll get started. Okay, I'm back. So I moved my camera down where you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm going to be doing. Let me see if I can, my camera doesn't really like me a whole lot, so you guys just kind of have to bear with me. Let me move it back here again. I'm going to try to work in the camera area. So what you're going to do is you're first going to make sure that I like to use gloves, but gloves can be a little difficult sometimes. So I just take a piece of scrap clay, roll my fingers around in it. Make sure that you, when you're doing this, that you take and push your finger, especially if you have nails, and that'll get most of the little debris bits out from under your nail beds. You can run this over your work surface as well. I have a silpat mat, like a silicone mat, so nothing sticks to it. I just wipe it down with some alcohol after I'm finished with a project. And that keeps my surface pretty clean. So I'm going to have a glove in one hand, and I'm not going to have it in the other hand because I'm a weirdo like that. So you're going to start just by sort of mashing this up a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pinch this very thin. Hope you guys can see. We're going to pinch it until it's really just super thin. You can run it through a clay roller if you'd like. I don't really think it's necessary. It doesn't really need to be uniform. It just needs to be nice and thin. And one thing that I forgot to tell you guys that you actually will definitely need is some type of clay softener or baby oil. I'm actually just going to be using some dollar store brand baby oil for this, but you will need one of those to help you soften up this clay. There we go. Mine doesn't want to open. I haven't used it in so long. There we go. So you're not going to need a lot of this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the end of my finger and dip it down into it so that I can just get a little bit at a time. And I'm going to take that and I'm just going to pat it all over the top of that clay. As you can see, I still have a lot left on my hand. And put the lid back on this because I will inevitably knock it off the table, spill it everywhere, end up with a huge mess. And then you can do this with your fingers if you like. You can use a tool, whatever is easier for you. You just want to kind of work that into that clay. Now you would want to do this on a surface that was non-stick, like maybe a glass, or if you have a baking tile, or on some parchment paper, something like that. My sill pad, it won't stick to that. So you're just going to want to work this in there, and I'm going to do that a little bit, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm back again, and all we got, it's still very much a clay consistency, but as you can see, it's very sticky, kind of icky. We're going to continue thinning this out until we get the consistency just a little bit thicker than TLS. So just keep adding a tiny bit at a time like this, and then working it into the clay. This is a very long process. Don't be fooled by the camera, because I'm not going to show you the entire process, because that would make an incredibly long, incredibly boring YouTube video. But you're just going to want to work that together as much as you can, and I will come back and show you what the consistency looks like when we get it to where we need it. Okay, I'm back again, and we have it to about the consistency that we want it to be. And it's difficult to show it to you because it's kind of stuck to this at the moment, but it's a very it's not even like a solid clay anymore. It's very sticky and gooey, and it's very much a liquid. And that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what we're looking for right now. So I'm just gonna scrape it off of here the best that I can with my finger. And I definitely recommend that you do this in a smaller work surface. Now I'm just going to use my clay blade to kind of scrape this all back together. Kind of get it all. There we go. See? That's kind of what you end up with. And it doesn't look like much right now, but don't worry, it's definitely going to get better. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to mix this with our TLS or liquid clay, whatever you want to use. So we're just going to smear that right here. And I don't know if you guys can see, it gives an almost silver look to the end of my finger when I pick it up. So you're just going to squirt in some TLS. We're going to end up with enough for about 2 of these, I think. And then you're going to take your tool and you're going to mix this together as much as you possibly can without making a huge mess of it like I'll probably end up doing. Now, it doesn't look like much at the moment, but this is going to come out really great. You almost can't even see, you can't even see the other clay that we thinned down in here. It's gotten so completely incorporated in there. Just make sure that you mix it thoroughly and you get all of it. There we go. Now this is a little goopy, which is why I said that you're gonna probably want to use a mold. Okay. So now on to the next step. Okay, so I've selected the glitters that I'm gonna use, and as I said before, the type of glitter that you use is going to be completely dependent upon what outcome you want. So don't let yourself get limited by anything. The only thing that I wouldn't recommend is any really super thick glitter pieces like the micro beads or any really thick or heavy designs, because those are not gonna they're gonna show too much in your overall. So use really fine glitter flakes, or like holographic type glitter pieces, stuff like that. And that's what I have here that I'm gonna be using. I have some very fine blue glitter, and there's just a tiny bit in this bottle, but you don't need that much, but I have more. I'm gonna use some white holographic flakes, and these are sort of like a translucent, they've got a nice pinkish color to them. Some rainbow hexagonal glitter flakes. These are actually, I honestly have no idea what these are. I think they're crushed shell pieces, like seashell pieces that have been colored. Some silver flake glitter. These are like yellowy, goldy. This is more of the crushed shell, like the pink. And then I'm going to throw in some gold glitter just for good measure. Now, please keep in mind, you do not need a lot of any of these glitters. Very, very, very small amounts. I don't recommend that you pour directly into your thing like I'm going to do. I'm not going to be using this piece for anything. There we go. I'm not going to be using this piece for anything, so it's not such a big deal if I get way too much glitter in there. So just keep that in mind when you're pouring this, that you want to be very, very sparing with it. Okay, there we go. You're just gonna use teensy, teensy, teensy tiny bits. And the bigger your glitter is, the less you're gonna want to use. There we go, that's enough of the blue. Put the little cap back on that. Some of the, I'm going to use the gold next, I think. It doesn't really matter what order you put it in. It's all going to get mixed in there. You don't really need to worry about spreading it around too much either. It'll get pretty thoroughly mixed in the next step. Some of these. I love using these glitters. I actually, people ask me all the time where I got them. I got them on Amazon. You can also get them on eBay, probably get them from craft stores. I bought a huge pack. It was like a multi-pack with all these different glitters in it. And they came in these tiny little bottles, which is perfect. And it doesn't seem like a lot of glitter in each bottle, and it's not. But I mostly make miniatures and do things like this, so I use a very tiny amount. I've had these for almost a year. And so if you don't use a whole lot like me, oh, I used a little too much of that one. If you don't use a whole lot of glitter like me, these are probably going to be a great investment. I think I paid $15 or $20 for the whole set, maybe. shipping and all. I can't remember exactly, but I know that it wasn't more than $20. And I'm really, really, really happy with them. They've been great for me. Okay, so you just want to stir all of that glitter in. And I went a little overboard with the glitter, so I may have to, you know, add some more. I'm going to add some more TLS to mine because I'm a little bit of a glitter phobe, and I kind of, not even a glitter phobe, that's like the exact opposite of what I am. So mine is too chunky. I'm going to add some more TLS to thin that down a little bit. Now this will work for smaller bits and pieces. You just want to make little opals. If you're going to make anything big, TLS doesn't come out quite as clear the larger your piece is or the thicker that it's layered. So if you're going to make a larger piece, keep that in mind. You may want to use something like apparently Faux liquid. The Faux translucent liquid is a lot clearer even in thicker bits. So you might want to invest. It's also, from what I understand, I've never bought any, but from what I understand, it's also a little bit more expensive. So you may also want to keep that in mind when you're purchasing your liquid clays. But like I said, if you're going to just make smaller pieces, you're going to do miniatures, you're going to make tiny little ones, I would just go with the TLS. It works just fine for me. I've never really had too much of an issue. I mostly use it for fixing pieces. I don't use it for actually making things a whole lot. And right now I'm just cleaning out my the wells on my mold with some alcohol to clean up any dirt, debris. I use them all the time. Especially this one. I love this one. I don't even know why. I just like playing with it mostly. I don't even actually use it for crafting that often. I just like to shove clay down in there and make all kinds of crazy colored leaves. It makes me very happy. It's like a therapeutic thing, I guess. Now, there we go. So we're going to put that over here. Now you're going to scoop your clay into here, and this is okay. My camera decided that it hated me, and it immediately needed to be refilled right while I was in the middle of refilming, or filming rather. Okay, so we're just gonna try and tap that off. There we go. This is probably the most difficult part of this entire tutorial, trying to scoop all of this up and get it into these molds. Probably you're gonna be better off if you put it on a surface that you can pick up and manipulate, unlike I did. But I'm just gonna kind of scoop and pour. That works just fine for me. I'm going to move this over here and maybe you guys can watch the magic of me being an idiot. There we go. I'm actually probably going to have way more than I anticipated. But that's just one of those things. Don't worry about it if you get it on the side of your mold. You can clean that up with some alcohol when you are finished. This is actually easier than I had thought it was going to be. We're just going to scrape and let it drip off. That one is, yeah, that one's pretty full. We'll just let it run as it naturally will do and make sure it kind of fills in all the little crevices. Now you want to make sure whatever mold you're using is heat safe. because you're obviously not going to be able to pop these out and bake them. So make sure your mold's heat safe so you don't have that issue. Okay, now just clean up your mess, which is what I'm going to do first. I'm actually going to use my heat gun to set these. So I'm not going to show you guys that process, because if you have a heat gun, you already know how to do that. If you don't have a heat gun, well, you don't have a heat gun, so it's not going to benefit you at all for me to show you how to do it. So I'm going to do that, and then I will be right back, and I'll show you the results. Yay! Alright, so I've just popped them out, and they are still a little warm. As you can see, I can squish it and it bounces right back right now, so it's still, yeah, fairly warm. So if I can get my camera to focus, this is the result. Now, as you can see, the color does not come through a whole lot. The back of it, because there's no texture, might show you a little better. You've got that nice sparkle. You've got enough clarity that you can see the colors. Here's this one. Here's the back. And then this was the thinnest one that I did. Here's the back of it. I'm just gonna move these over here into the light a little more. And as you can see, what I said about the color really affecting the outcome a lot. The darker colors are a lot more vibrant, whereas those golds and things like that, they really blend in well, and in my opinion they look better than like this blue, which really pops out right here in the front of this one. It looks very, very strange to me. So use, you know, this is just one example of what you can do. You could buff these up and they would look a little better. These haven't been sanded or anything. You could glaze them and they'd be even shinier. This is just another way of making the faux opals with translucent clay. And like I said, I wouldn't recommend making anything too large, because it's not going to come out the way that you want. Thanks for watching.